On July 13, 2011, 32-year-old Rebecca Zahau was found naked and hanging from a balcony at her boyfriend Jonas Shacknai's California mansion. The shocking discovery came just days after Shacknai's son Max fell in the home while in Zahau's care. Despite the San Diego Sheriff's Department ruling Zahau's death a suicide, her family has fiercely denied she could have died by her own hand. They even brought a wrongful death lawsuit against Adam Shacknai, the brother of Zahau's boyfriend, who called 911 saying he found her that morning. The civil jury found Adam liable for Rebecca's death. He filed an appeal in the case, but it was later settled in February 2019. He told local news outlets that his insurance company settled the case without his knowledge. Adam has never been criminally charged for Zahau's death and has maintained his innocence. Following the civil trial, the Sheriff's Department maintained they believe Zahau's death was a suicide. I'm Stephanie Gomolka, digital correspondent for Oxygen.com, and here is a look at some of the evidence in the case of Rebecca Zahau. First, the rope. Red rope bound Zahau's ankles and hands. Investigators with the Sheriff's Department believe Zahau tied the rope, including the knots binding her hands behind her back, herself. A knot expert hired by the Zahau family attorney Keith Greer testified at the civil trial, saying that the knots tied around Rebecca and to the bed were nautical maritime knots. Greer argued that Adam Shacknai was a tugboat captain who would be familiar with these types of knots. A different expert called by Adam's defense team disputed the knots were nautical in nature, and during cross-examination by the Zahau family attorney demonstrated in court how Zahau could have tied the knots herself. Lieutenant Rich Williams of the San Diego Sheriff Department's homicide unit, who reviewed the case in 2018 with other agencies, said that witness and family statements indicated Zahau did have some experience tying a boat knot. Second, a painted message and knives in the bedroom. Lab testing showed that a message painted on the door leading to the bedroom matched paint on Rebecca's body. 2 kitchen knives were also found in the room. Investigators for the Zahau family alleged Zahau was sexually assaulted by a knife handle that had her menstrual blood on it. Lieutenant Rich Williams said at the 2018 press conference, the autopsies did not show any evidence of sexual assault. According to the San Diego Sheriff's Department, tests only showed Zahau's DNA on the smaller knife, which had no fingerprints. A mixture of DNA of at least 2 individuals was found on the larger knife, but the sample was insufficient for testing. This knife had Rebecca's fingerprints. In closing arguments, Adam's defense attorney said no DNA, evidence, or testimony from witnesses connected Adam to Rebecca's death. Third, impressions left behind. On the balcony, authorities say they found bare feet and toe impressions that they believe were consistent with Zahau's foot size and a person leaning forward over the railing. Sheriff Department investigators argued disturbances to the dust on the railing matched Zahau's torso and the rope. A boot print that was traced to a responding officer was also on the balcony. Expert witness for the Zahau family, Dr. Cyril Wecht, argued at the civil trial Zahau was strangled and her death was made to look like a suicide. During cross-examination of the expert, Adam's defense team questioned why Wecht changed his initial opinion on manner of death from undetermined to homicide. Fourth, gloves questioned at the civil trial. The civil trial brought into question if gloves found in different parts of the home were tested, including a latex glove that was found in a crawl space and a pair of garden gloves found on a living room table. Lieutenant Williams said each were tested in 2011. Despite one of the garden gloves showing a mixed sample of at least 2 individuals, the gloves provided insufficient amounts of DNA for testing or conclusions. And finally, a possible voicemail describing Max's condition. Jonah's son Max was in a coma at the time of Zahau's death. Jonah claimed he left a voicemail detailing a turn for the worse before law enforcement believed Rebecca died. Although cell phone records confirmed he left a message, investigators with the Sheriff's Department say they are unable to retrieve the content of the deleted voicemail. Stay with Oxygen.com for more details on the case, and be sure to watch Death at the Mansion, Rebecca Zahau.